All right, Ray. So the last video addressed parting tools, and I've been thinking about parting tools after making that, and I just wanted to show you two more things, three more things. So when you're trying to make a very clean cut on the end grain, if you're trying to leave the shoulders, or even if you've got a round and you're trying to make a clean cut down the end grain, and you're not confident with the method I showed you, where you step away from your line a little bit and go down with your tip of your skew chisel and then work back until you get it square. They make a parting tool. Here it is. Here's one of them. This one's a very old one, and it's you can see that I've sharpened it and worked on it a lot. It's something in Jackson, in Sheffield. It's a British tool, and this is an old one. I think a number of the companies make these now, but you can see that it's a parting tool that has a groove or a flute ground in the bottom of it, and it makes a very thin cut. And when you sharpen the tool on the top, on the bevel, why those two flutes sticking out, you see, make two little points, and they're supposed to cut that end grain real cleanly. And this tool is used with the bevel facing up, and you just push it straight in, and you've got to make sure that you push it straight in so that it doesn't bind up. And here it is. And then you can kind of feel when it gets down there and is cutting all the way around. And there it is. All right, so the my thoughts about this tool are, number one, that it's an extra tool you have to buy, and number two, that when you use it like this, you're putting it on a metal tool rest, and it seems to me you're dulling the edges of these flutes that, as you grind it back, are going to become your little cutting corners. But I've had this tool a long time, and haven't dulled it yet. Occasionally I'll take a slipstone that has a rounded top, and I'll polish that flute a little bit. You have to be very careful that you don't raise this thing up and grind a new bevel on the end. You want to keep it very flat and just polish that thing. And I actually put it down like this, and so I can put some pressure on it. So this is just a little India stone, and allows you to polish that thing. So one of the reasons I haven't been bothered by it getting dull back here from riding on the metal tool rest is that I don't like it very much, so I haven't used it very much. Okay, so here's what the young people today would call a hack. And so here's an old parting tool, crappy parting tool from, this is probably it is a Chinese one. And let's see, I've even let a little rust grow on that corner right there. In any case, plenty of people did not want to give all their money to Sorby, so they thought, well, there's got to be some other way to do this. So they ground a little channel in the bottom of their parting tool with the corner of the grindstone. And so then I have polished that little flute, that little short flute that you've made in there, the same way with the India stone flute. And gets a reasonably sharp edge on there, and then of course you sharpen the top on your normal grinder. I sharpened this on a CBN wheel, and then polished it with my cotton buffing wheel as I normally do. So here's the hack. And again, you just push it straight in. And the hack seems to have cut just about as well as the commercial model. Now, another thing about this is that a parting tool always leaves you with a flat surface in here, and you can see this leaves you with a little small, almost like a little bead there. And so here, I'm going to photograph those two edges with a still camera and see if I can get a better picture. Well, you can see from those still photos that the end grains are fairly clean, and you can see that this one left the edges just about as nice as this one, left the corners. And this one was a tool that came in a set of Chinese tools that someone gave me, and it says it's high-speed steel. I don't know what kind of steel it is, but didn't cost me anything. Took me just a few minutes to make it. Seems to work pretty well, so that's just something to consider. Okay, then talking about parting tools, the one tool that I didn't mention is the bedan. And a bedan is a tool apparently originated with some French wood turner. I guess his name was Bedan. Anyway, it's one of those tools that's kind of like the Rudy Assolment tool. Rudy, when he would show you his what he called his round-nosed chisel, and which for a while Craft Supply sold as a Rudy Assolment tool, and now they sell it as a Spindle Master. That tool, I don't have one sitting right here, but anyway, that tool, Rudy said you could do anything with it, and that's what Bedan said about this tool. So you can see that it's sharpened like half a chisel. It's flat on the top side. It's sharpened actually, just like a mortising chisel, mortising bench chisel. The difference is that the Bedan is relieved on the underside, so that the cutting edge is at the very widest part of the tool, and that keeps it from binding up. And so the Bedan is one of those tools that some people claim you can do anything with. I'm always skeptical of that and have not practiced with the Bedan very much, just because by the time I learned about it, I'd already developed some level of skill with other tools and didn't need a tool that would do everything. But so here's your Bedan, using it sort of like a parting tool. You can go down here to smooth up this cylinder between our two shoulders. And you can see and here, you hear right there, you see it tends to be just a little grabby. So the solution to that is to use it similar to the way I was showing you, to use a parting tool where you tilt the tool just a little bit and cut with the leading corner. And when you do that, if you don't mess up. Okay, so I'm working with some hard maple here. And this tool tends to be a little grabby, so you got to be a little careful with it. Take a light cut. And make sure that you already cut it down a little bit that way, so we need to go this way. So you can see that right there, there's a little roughness where I let it grab me. See, there's a little. Okay, let's try again here. Okay, people that love a bedan really love them. You can see that ended up leaving a pretty nice surface once I got it under control. And so I just thought I'd share those 3 little tools with you, give you some more to think about.